Adam Raga looked the likely favourite on paper for Heat 1 of the second round over the new sections, but with the form book having been torn up in round 1, no one knew what to expect. Benoit Bincaz had home support behind him, while Gironi Fajardo was keen for a top result after a couple of poor scores. Gironi Fajardo seemed to be struggling in round 1 and had had his share of bad luck, but took it all in his stride with some rapid and tigerish riding here. He made a fine start to the opening section with some almost Tony Bow-like riding on his back wheel and started in style with a clean ride. This laid down the gauntlet to his rivals, but things then began to go wrong. Fajardo took it easier on the difficult second section, but on the very tricky middle segment he fell and took 5 marks. The blue cylinders, which had frustrated so many riders in round 1, were used in the reverse direction this time, but just like in round 1, Fajardo could not make it up the first step and it was an instant fail. To make matters worse, precisely the same happened to him on the impossible-looking first step of Section 4, an obstacle not yet used during the evening. With 3 consecutive failures, an improvement was desperately needed, and Fajardo pulled it out of the bag on Section 5. He dropped just 1 mark as he flew at speed over the obstacles in similar style to his Section 1 performance. Was it too little too late for the Gas rider to qualify for the finals, with a final total of 16 marks for round 2? By contrast to Gironi Fajardo, Benoit Bincaz's lap began in the worst possible way. The home hero came down to a crashing fall at the start of the opening section to gasp from his home crowd, and he reverted to his attacking style from round 1 in an effort to recoup ground. The same obstacle that had caught out Fajardo on Section 2 then also caused Bincaz to fall, and it was 2 fails out of 2. Desperate for improvement, Bincaz used all the revs in his Beta's engine on Section 3 and flew up the first step to crowd approval, but dropped further marks as the run went on and eventually fell once more. With the opening to Section 4 also proving insurmountable just as it had for Fajardo, the home hero was in danger of chalking up a maximum score. But he saved face on the slightly easier final section with a straightforward run, dropping a single mark and finishing with a flyer. Bincaz was clearly gutted by his performance, however, after taking 21 marks, and would have to rely on a complete disaster for Adam Raga if he was to stand a chance for making the finals at his home event. Adam Raga seemed to be trying to pick up where he had left off at the end of round 1, that is, going too quickly. He had rushed his final section on the opener to beat the time limit and rushed into Section 1 here too, falling and accruing an instant 5-mark score with some of the arena lights taking the brunt. He calmed down heading into Section 2, but that same high obstacle with no run-up space claimed another victim. 2 maximums down just like Bincaz, and suddenly Fajardo was in pole position. Raga clawed back some ground with a better run in Section 3, dropping just 1 mark for leaning and becoming the first rider in round 2 to complete it. He was now just 1 mark behind Fajardo's total, but remained there with another fiasco on the impossible Section 4, leaving him needing a clean to tie Fajardo's score on the final section. Raga would achieve the target too, but time was too far against him, and he was almost 9 seconds short on the tiebreak and missed out on a grand final place. No doubt putting a smile on Tony Bow's face as he realised yet another world title was likely on its way come the end of the night. A surprise result in Heat 1 as outsider Gironi Fajardo went through to his first grand final of the year, in a heat where all 3 riders recorded at least 3 failures. Adam Raga's chance of the World Championship was almost gone as he went into the consolation final, and home hero Benoit Bincaz was out. Tony Bow had rectified his round 1 problems and could wrap up the World Championship if he won his round 2 heat, but would face stiff competition from an informed Mikel Gelabert and ex-Trial Granada finalist Jaime Busto. Busto would have loved to make it an all-gas final, but sadly his run would prove eerily similar to Benoit Bincaz in Heat 1. The Basque rider came crashing down off the opening A-frame obstacle in Section 1 for 5 marks, losing some time afterwards while he checked over his machine. He almost made it up the highest part of Section 2 after a quick start, but still no rider had cleared this obstacle, and Busto could not quite be the first. 2 attempts to ascend Section 3 then followed, but on the second, Busto parted company with his bike and things were looking very tough for Granada's beaten finalist. He would then become the latest rider to fail to ascend Section 4's opening, and a maximum score looked a distinct possibility. Busto would avoid this, but perhaps in his frustrations over his earlier problems he made several mistakes and dropped 3 marks on the last segment as he looked a shadow of the man who had finished second in Granada. His total of 23 marks dropped a disappointed Busto behind Benoit Bincaz in the overall standings. This was also set to place a clearly upset Busto's World Championship podium prospect under threat with 1 round to go. It was rare to see Tony Bow not to be the last to run in round 2, and after his issues early on he took it fairly easy to begin with. He dropped 2 marks for leaning on the early obstacles of section 1, but made the rest of the section look fairly easy and took an early lead over Busto, guaranteeing himself a place in the top 4 in the process. The central tower of section 2 once again proved insurmountable as it had for everyone else, even though Bow took plenty of time over it. Disaster then threatened to strike as Bow came crashing down backwards off the first step of section 3. But thankfully he avoided injury and was able to continue riding despite being extremely angry with himself. He then became the 5th rider to fail at the opening of section 4 of this extremely difficult lap, and some voiced concern that his earlier woes from round 1 might be returning to haunt him. Bow was now behind Fajardo's Heat 1 score as he lined up for section 5, but he showed no ill effects this time as he eased over it on his back wheel, dropping just 1 mark for a round total of 18. Still a high score by Bow's standards on a night when everyone seemed to be struggling with the sheer difficulty of the course. Bow now just had to sit and wait until the end of the round. If Michael Jalabert failed to beat him to the grand final place, Tony would be ex-trial world champion once again. But Bow certainly looked on edge at the end of his run. Michael Jalabert entered his Heat 2 lap in high spirits after topping the table in round 1, but things came crashing back to earth for him in a literal sense when he came down heavily at the start of section 1. He then made it a clean sweep of failures of section 2 across both round 2 heats, but this at least bought him some time for the remaining sections. Having scaled the opening of section 3, he came down later on through the obstacle despite a valiant effort, and now only had 3 marks to play with if he was to defeat the great Tony Bow. The next section was one that everyone had failed, and Jalabert was no exception, his 4th failure of the lap meaning he could no longer overhaul Bow and effectively handing Bow the World Championship. Jalabert, meanwhile, was still 3 marks up on Jaime Busto and needed a good result to finish off his lap. And that is what he scored, with a clean on section 5. Only the 3rd clean of the entire second round, which showed the difficulty of the course. This booked him a place in the consolation final at the expense of Jaime Busto, despite appearing in some discomfort at the end of his lap. Despite a high score, Tony Bow progressed to the grand final, and with Adam Raga failing to qualify to face him, Bow confirmed himself as the 2019 X-Trial World Champion. Jalabert's good efforts on a tough course were rewarded with a consolation final place. Well, for the second round in succession, Adam Raga finds himself out of the top 2. Any chance of him challenging for the world title extinguished now as he prepares for the 3rd place playoff, the runner-up final, taking on Michael Jalabert. Topped the first round table, looking to continue his fine form. It's Jalabert to go first. New sections for this consolation final. The first repeat of the first section from rounds 1 and 2 in both directions this time. Jalabert first into it. See how he gets on this time. A steady start as he did in round 1. He'll drop a mark for leaning there as he goes up the first cube there. This is a good run so far. Just that 1 mark dropped. His minder looking on, giving him encouragement. Of course, they only have 1 minute for each obstacle in this consolation final and in the final as well. The final over 6 sections coming up a little later on. So Jalabert's now got to get over this difficult A-frame obstacle. He's up and he's down. That'll be a 5-mark score for Michael Jalabert. Such a good run in the first round, topping the table with 9 marks, but things have gone slightly wrong for him from there. But Adam Raga, of course, will be slightly demoralised. Failed to make the grand final for the second round in a row, looking to keep up his extraordinary run of podiums, the all-time podium record holder in X-Trial. Can only now finish in a highest position of third place. His chance of the world title has gone. He will aim to complete his first of 4 sections in this consolation final. He's up no problem there onto the cube that caught out several riders in round 1. It's such a difficult course here at X-Trial Marseille 2019. Nicely over on the back wheel there for Adam Raga, looking for his 30th consecutive podium. He's through the first direction, now turn it round, back through the opposite way. Time is against Adam Raga somewhat here. It's going to be a struggle for him. He's up onto the back wheel. He'll drop a mark for leaning there. He seems to be stuck now. He'll drop a mark for footing as well. I don't think he's going to get through this, Adam Raga. He's in trouble here. Stuck on that A-frame, and the Minder's going to have to catch the bike. That's going to be a fail for Adam Raga. The Minder had to step in there. To add insult to injury, the time klaxon goes off as well after it was declared a fail there. As we say, they only have 1 minute to complete each section in the finals. And that's over to Michael Jalabert for heat number 2. Those dreaded blue modules again. Barely anyone able to get over the first step of this obstacle in heat 1. Jalabert is up. And the Minders had to catch the bike there, so that is going to be a second consecutive failure for Michael Jalabert. He's on a maximum score of 10 marks out of 10 so far. A short-lived effort there for Michael Jalabert in the consolation final. Now let's see what Adam Raga can do. He's up. May drop a mark for leaning there, but he's over it to crowd approval. That's better from Adam Raga. The 4 times world champion. All-time podium and points record holder. 38-year-old. Let's see if he can get over the second turret, if you like, on this second of 4 sections. Same as section 3 in round 1. Adam Raga is up. Nicely done. Crashes down into the middle of the obstacle there. Manages to control it though. He's dropped 1 mark for leaning. Up onto the third element. He's nicely over that on the back wheel. That's a 1 mark score from the second obstacle. And Raga goes into a 4 mark lead. 6 marks to 10 after second obstacle of this consolation final. On to obstacle 3 now, section 3. This is the wooden crates. Nobody got up these in round 2. This is the opposite direction now, which looks somewhat easier. Looks very straightforward compared to the obstacles in round 2. And Jalabert is up the first section. Nice and steady so far for the Sherco rider. Special celebration livery, celebrating 20 years of the Sherco factory team. There he sees ahead of him the tower that no one could ascend in round 2. Got a ramp this time, looks almost straightforward, doesn't it, this time? Jalabert limbers up. Can he get his first completed section of the lap here? Not got much run up there. You can see him back against the crate. He gets the revs up. He's up. He'll drop a mark for leaning there, but he's over. That's a 1 mark score for Michael Jalabert from section 3. That puts him on 11. He's got to hope for at least 1 failure for Adam Raga here if he's going to finish on the podium, the young Catalan rider. Troubled by that foot injury at the start of the season. He missed X-Trial Budapest, of course. Adam Raga, the winner of X-Trial Barcelona for the first time in 11 years this year. Largely thanks to a couple of misfortunes for Tony Bow. Raga, a more measured approach in the early part of this section 3 of this consolation final. The back wheel nearly dropping off the crate there as he controls it. Taking his time here. Up and over that second element of the obstacle, then it's down onto the ramp and up and over this tower of crates at the end of the section. Taking it steady here, taking his time, Adam Raga. Can he go clean here? Up the tower. Has dropped a mark, so it won't be a clean, but he does drop just that 1 mark from section 3. Same score as Michael Jalabert. He keeps his 4 mark lead. Another new section coming up next. We've not seen this direction so far. This is section number 4. Jalabert with the last effort to try and get on the podium. He's up the first obstacle okay. Reverse of section 4 from the opening round. Again, keeping it steady up on the back wheel. This is good. First time the riders have tackled it in this direction. Winder offering encouragement. Just this A-frame and the last couple of cubes at the end of the lap to go. Jalabert able to take his time. Desperate for that podium finish. It'll be his first podium of the year if he beats Adam Raga here. Will he end Raga's extraordinary run of what will be 30 consecutive podiums? He's up and over onto the last block, and through he comes for a clean. Michael Jalabert finishes on 11 marks for the consolation final. But he's got to rely on a failure for Adam Raga here if he's going to take the podium. Raga's got 3 marks to play with here, heading into this final section of the lap. It does look a little simpler than the others, but it's been a very fiendish course here in Marseille tonight. Raga is up onto the octagons at the start of the section. All good so far. He's got time in hand here, the encouragement from the crowd as he goes up over that slightly more difficult thing. Did he drop a mark for leaning there? No, I don't think he has. He gets over it on the back wheel. Almost leaning with the sump there on that diamond shape. Now he's just got to get over this A-frame. This is the most difficult part of the section. You can see there's barely any room to line the bike up there. Trying not to drop the back wheel off that block. He's up and he's over. Good riding by Adam Raga. Is he going to be on the podium? He certainly is. Adam Raga clean through the final section, finishes on 7 marks, and it's a 30th consecutive X-Trial podium for Adam Raga. Great stuff there from the vastly experienced Spaniard. Adam Raga keeps up his run of podium finishes for the 2019 X-Trial season by 4 marks, his 30th consecutive podium in all. Our 4th overall is certainly Michael Jalabert's best performance of the season after a fine night's work here in Marseille.